What is up, guys? It is your boy Royal Mech, and today, I'm actually going to go into why a lot. I'm about to get. We're actually about to go into a little bit of my why and of why I play Gear Chronicle and why I enjoy the unit Chronojet and the clan as a whole, especially because 10th anniversary of G, the poster child was, and my camera likes to do funny stuff, was Chronojet. So I'm going to go actually into that because it actually holds a lot close to me personally, with the deck itself and things like that. Now, to start, one of the funniest things over time I figured out, actually recently, which I thought was actually kind of cool because it is my favorite unit and it is part of my favorite clan in Vanguard as a whole. Do Japanese dates, in a combination of Japanese and English dates, a lot of the major moments for Gear Chronicle coincided um, with my birthday or major somebody close to me, in but alternate between Japanese and English. In Japan, its first release was in December, which is my birthday. Um, the primary release was December, and one of the primary releases was my birthday. Set four, where we got next stage in English, that came on my birthday. And there just has always been something related to Gear Chronicle or oriented to time and steam maintenance during my birthday. And that recently has been an amazing thing, right? To look into that because I was just a gear main. I played Vanguard since actually the beginning. So I started with Royals, then Golds, and then when Gears came out, I thought it was interesting as a deck for stride mechanic, dragon that controls time, really cool. Friends say I have a pro tag issue. Wouldn't say it's a pro tag issue, but I do understand most of my decks I did play were the pro tag deck. So, like even in Yu-Gi-Oh, where I play casually on Master Duel, and I'm building a standard deck, I play primarily heroes. So my friends are not that completely off hilt that I primarily enjoy playing hero decks. Now, in regards to my connection with Gear Chronicle, aside of those random dates that somehow always fell with a Gear Chronicle related card, um, Gear Chronicle, when it first came out, it was came through at a time where I was still trying to figure out who I was personally. Um, during the time it came out, during that time, I was currently living on my friend's couch. Um, had issues with my grandmother. Luckily, my friend and his dad were willing to let me rent their couch space. So I was living with them. I was working. I was first working at a Journeys, then moved to working at McDonald's, which is across the street. When I was trying to figure out if I wanted to go back to school, and then switched over to working at a Walmart because of my friends who played Vanguard with me. And I was blessed that I was able to get a job there and keep things moving for me. So I wasn't homeless per se, but I was not in like the most optimal a lot of people wanted you to be in when you were in your 20s. Um, but that was the start. Now, during that time, Gear Chronicle had just come out, so it also was struggling, especially for a poster child deck that's supposed to be like the new face of the game. It was struggling harder than almost every other deck at that point. Um, but I was still playing it. I enjoyed the deck. I did what I had to do as a player to take what I had and, just like with life, take what you have and press forward and do what you can. Now, not saying I won a lot of tournaments locally with it, but none of my games were just like, oh, you got swept. No, I played that deck like it was the best thing in the format. My friends could literally tell you back then I was not a pushover, with gears. You playing me, you better hope I don't. I better hope I misplayed. Um, and that didn't happen. But that never happened. I wasn't misplaying like that. But I was still playing with it. I still struggled, just like with Gear Chronicle. When Set 4 came out, things were getting better. Things got better. Were getting better for me. Actually, when Set 4 came out, I was working at McDonald's, but my work schedule had actually got me to a point where I was able to enjoy my weekends. So Friday nights, Saturdays, then working on Sundays. Um, Once again, close relation to Gear. When Set 4 came out, things got better for them. They were actually now seen as a meta competitor, which for me was also really cool. And then time goes on. Time goes on for me. Things are still working out. I'm still with my friend on the couch, but things are pressing. Work is treating me slightly better. I got moved over. I got transferred over to another shop that was actually closer to my home, um, closer where I was staying, and I was slightly getting paid more. So things were still progressing. During that time, Gears were still trying to figure out their identity. Time Leap was just being talked about, and then it happened. Time Leap came out, which changed the identity of Gear Chronicle from more just control wannabe Kagero to now it was slightly becoming a jack of all trades, from having some control mechanic to being able to multi attack like a lot of other nations. Um, and that is actually when my for me changes also triggered again, where I ended up actually switching jobs from McDonald's to switching over to a job at Walmart. Um, and that's where things actually got better. I was making more money. My really got really blessed that for me they were looking for a cart pusher who could work mornings. So I was that lucky guy who was the morning cart pusher, which means I got to enjoy the rest of my day during the week. I could always go to attorney after work, all that fun stuff. Was making actually decent money for where I was, and no complaints. At that point, we all know Gear Chronicle was on its thrive. Things were moving, cards were coming out that supported it, and yeah, and things just kept getting better. During this time, Gear Chronicle was the deck I was playing so hard. I was buying the SPs. Um, when I say SPs, my jet deck was slowly getting max rarityed out. And I was still moving. My life was doing good. Then I moved actually out here to Vegas, and during that time, Jet hadn't really, there wasn't really much movement for Jet at the time, but the deck was still doing good. It was one of the top decks in G, so we were fine. Things were still up. My life was still up. Moved back here to Vegas because I consider myself a Vegas local. Dad was military, so I grew up in this area a long time. Came back to some roots, um, and then started playing Vanguard out here. My deck once again was getting max rarity as time was going on. Jet was still doing what it was doing, still getting its support. Then we got Mellow Combo around the time while I was out here. So things just kept getting better and better. I kept taking my life to the next level, just as Gears was taking their skills and abilities to the next level. I was no longer busing. I was getting a car. Um, uh, me and my family, we ended up living together in a house. So that was working out. Life was just going good, right? Then some time goes on, and G era ends, right? G era comes to its end, and in coming to its end, during that like a week, and when I tell you like a week before the V era started, and me and my friend's case came in, was coming in the week before the V era officially starts, where the set and the first set were coming out and everything. I ended up losing my Gear Chronicle collection. All of it got stolen. All of it got my whole bag, binder, everything. Tried looking for it, nothing could be found. So my life kind of had to start over with Gears. I was actually not a happy camper. My friends understand that because of how close I was with Gears. I was one of the few. I was a Gear main, heart and soul. You would not have been able to tell me different, especially out here in local Vegas. I am known for being the Gear Chronicle player. Um, I, along with one other person in our Vegas local community, were seen as like the top two Gear Chronicle players in our city. My good friend RJ, who was also primarily a Gear Chronicle man with me, we actually had a regional, a shop local. I can't remember which one it was, but it was in the late teens, late 2010s, back when Dominate showed up. And me and him were during that Dominate format, where Dominate was like the deck to fight. Me and him were the only two Jet decks in the entire format, and Jet really had a problems at that point when Dominate was getting all of its stuff. Um, Jet had issues. One second, let me get the date. Let me re-get that date for you. Let me get that date. Fight wiki. We want this. We want. So it's Cardfight Vanguard wiki. There it is. We want cards. I want. Let's look it up here real quick. Search. Dominate. Dominate mechanic. With keyword, I want to get the. Grade 4s. Mokuro came out. What set was it again? It was Dragon King's Awakening. I don't remember. I think it's the box I'm looking at. That was not it. Was it Demonic Advent? Yes, this was the format. So, 2017. I had to remember what cards were existent during that format for me. It was 2017. Yeah. During Demonic Advent time, because they did have their it was Demonic Advent because they had their big boy. They had their main. They had Mugen Lord during that time. So it was back in 2017. Dominate was the end all be all deck in our local area. We knew that was going to be the hardest one to fight, right? But me and him stuck to Gears. It was our aces. Me and him ended up, and ironically, me and him both took all four. You could almost we could have it could have felt like it was a tag fight at that point. Jet versus Shiranui, and we just took out all the Shiranui players. We both did. Both of our major rounds we had at Shiranui. Both of our two main major rounds were Shiranui deck, and we beat both of their matchups. And it ended up being top two were two Jet players, and we were. It was just like cool. Dealing with a moment of adversity, we still came out on top. My life was doing the same thing. During 2017, once I lost my deck, it happened. Life kept moving. Not even like a month or so later, I lost my first car due to accident. But that's on me because I was trying to heavy double dip to make sure I was keeping myself afloat, trying to hustle extra money. I got into a car accident, which caused me to lose my first car. From that, I'm not. Guys, I will tell you as a person, you do not want to heavy excel yourself if you try and skipping out on making sure your health is okay. For me, the reason was because I was doing graveyard shift for hotel security, and then coming home, taking my stuff off to change my clothes to switch over into doing lift, and then trying to make excess cash there, right? Um, and then so that happened. Then V era started, and things were just going and going and going. Then they announced, "Here you go, guys. Here's V. Here's Gear Chronicle back. We got that new dragon. He was not Chrono Jet. Played it, did not like it. Deck was just bad, right? But life for me is still doing good. I'm a Gear Chronicle main. I still built the deck, but I was not liking it. Luckily, I was still building Royal Paladin, so that deck was still steadily on hand. Then we get to COVID, right? Um, then they announced during COVID, Chrono Jet and the gang are back. Cool, built it. Sadly, was not able to enjoy it because we were still doing all our lock-ins. But we also have Chrono Fang, so now decks that were a part of my nation make sense. Jet came back. Cool. Now I can play V with more energy and all that fun stuff for the format. But we weren't able to do it because during COVID, a lot of places were closed. But I got to play the deck. I did my butt off with Uber Eats and Uber during that lock-in because people were still needing their food. So I was using it to make money. Bought a literally max rarity set for the for Jet. Like I still have it now. It's actually I think it's actually in here. Like yeah. Let me see. Do I have it all? Are they all together on one page? Let's see. Or not. Let me show you guys. Where is it? Some of it's here, not all of it. But yeah, binder full of just gear stuff. See, SP Chrono Jet from V, SP Next Stage, SP just SPs for days, right? Heals, SP, even sit no crit SP. So V, I actually went and made sure I had the full play set of the deck of everything Gear Chronicle and V Chrono Jet related and V. Did it. Then we get to standard, right? Nothing really about Jet. I was just playing Dark States. Things, and we were still in the middle of COVID, so COVID was clearing up, and so it happened. But then we get to time's going on in standard with my friends, but things are getting toxic in our community, so I ended up stepping back. And then I got back in, and for those of you who knew what happened, we got back in. Why? Because the boy came back. In standard. Him and the boys came back in standard. And then I was like, cool. Picked up the deck. Picked up the set. Picked up the deck. And I've been playing standard now with primarily Jet the entire time. I built it up. For those of you who have been watching my games, you guys already know. It is my bread and butter. I'm also right now in the process. Let's see. I'm in the process now of actually max rareting this deck. It's my prep project because it's also my main. No matter what format the format reads, Jet will always be one of my go-to decks because I know what it does. I know how it works. I know where I can place stuff. But I also still have friends I play test with regularly, asking their opinions on to keep myself and keeping the boys up to par. Now, let's get to more recently about Jet. Things are actually working really good for me at home. Fred work is doing well. My wife's work is doing well. Only opening now is I'm just trying to balance more of my life so I can keep more steadily for you guys doing videos and everything. Beginning of October, we had the first regional of this season. I took Gear Chronicle all the way. Jet, during Standard, did not do well. I ran into probably the worst decks I could possibly run into with my type of deck. Zorga and Ava. decks that move incredibly fast that I would prefer not to deal with because both of them work incredibly good ahead of turn 3. So, but they get weaker after, but they're strong and pressuring early, so it's harder to keep them under control. But did not do well in standard during during the Sacramento. But I brought my wife with me this regional, so it was fun because it was along with my friends. So she got to experience what I enjoy going to. And then we had then we got to day two. Day two. This was where I was the most proud of myself, guys. As a Gear Chronicle main, I was really proud of myself because I went with CrestJet. And now I know a lot of people, competitive-wise, they would say CrestJet's not the move. You would prefer to run Steam mains because they are better. They actually are more long-term playable than doing burst or short-term because you have to have a perfect startup to keep going. While with Steam mains, you don't need as perfect of the startup. But I went that route and I did incredibly well. I did, for you guys who have been paying attention during locals, I did get the buy card for the premium format where I ended up being store champ for premium regulation with CrestJet. So I took it to regional. I lost only 2 games, and my X2s were one was against Shiranui, the other was against Katrina, and that was it. But I lost first game after my round 1 bye, and then the last game of my rounds is what I lost to, and it was to Katrina. Now, why am I happy about this event? I hit 17th place out of over 200 players with CrestJet. And when I tell you guys, I barely got bubbled out from being part of top 16 with CrestJet. I just barely bubbled out. I was kicked out by a point. By point 0.001 was how much I was away from sinking top 16 with Chronojet Dragon. Crest mode. Crest build. And I cannot tell you how proud I was of myself for that. And that has been where I am with Gears. Premium has just been, Chronojet's just been part of my major accomplishments as a Vanguard player, but along with my life, it has been a major accomplishment. I am happily married. I'm going on 6 years now. Ironically, going on 6 years when set 6 is when we get a new stride unit coming in for Jet. Possibly hopefully more support on top of that, but we are getting set 6 support now. Set 6 will be supporting the stride deck directly, which is good. And me and Jet took premium format, and we almost hit the top 16. If we had seen like 10 more people, I would have been sitting comfortably telling you guys, hey, I'm top 32, and kept pushing and pressing. But that didn't happen. But next year I'm coming back with a vengeance. Next time I'm coming back with a vengeance with CrestJet. I am not sitting on the back foot and letting that slide again. But that's been it for me. Jet has been that deck of growth. Gear Chronicles the deck of progression. I've grown. Jet's been growing. And it's been growing while I've been growing, and it's just that deck. Gear Chronicle is Jet. Not Jet and Gear Chronicle. Vanguard has always been started with find that unit or units you link with and try to grow with them. And that's how G started. Everybody found their boss monster, and they just grew off of that. For me, it ended up being Chronojet, and it has stayed being Chronojet ever since Gear Chronicle started. I have not, my main deck and my main avatar has always been Chronojet. I've played other decks. I can play other decks, but when it comes down to it, my avatar, my Vanguard is Chronojet Dragon. And for everybody, everybody has their unit that they love the most. Everyone has their deck that they love the most, that they wish could be good, which could be bad. But you always have the deck you will always sit with, and your love for a deck actually can surpass if it's good or bad in a format. 2 weeks ago, I took first place with ChronoJet at my locals. I will actually present the deck list for that in another separate video, but that happened, and I have nothing great more to say. Set 6 is coming around the corner in Japan within a couple weeks, so they will have access to the new stuff. Can't wait to see what Gear Chronicle gets, what ChronoJet gets from this support, because Bushy's playing with my emotions that they have yet to show it, but we were announced that in Messiah first, but they have yet to show us what they're getting. They've shown everything else around it first. But that's it on me with Gear Chronicle, guys. Why? They have just been a part of my life as an extension, really. Vanguard and G era as a whole has just been one of the major extensions of my life, because it's always, the G zone is about reaching for the future you want. And that is something everybody can understand. Everybody can get behind. G was about growing forward, reaching for your future, and taking hold of that future. I'm taking hold of my own future. You guys are able to take hold of your own futures. And that is just the life essence of what G was. We got a format where everybody felt they were an individual. You rarely ran into somebody at your locals that loved the game, that wasn't just a hardcore tourney player, that had a clan they didn't fully dedicate their time and efforts to. Mine was Gears. One of my friends was Link Joker. One of my friends was Nubatama, Kagero, Grand Blue. Everybody I knew in G era had the deck that they were in for. If they were a meta player, yes, they would play meta more. But if it wasn't for a actual hardcore tournament placing, so they could get per se their buy cards for the next regional, if they were playing a deck they solely love. We had our Bermuda mains, we have our dark irregular mains, those kinds of crazy things, and those were part of our locals. And that's what happened. And that's just how G's been. So, Bushiro, congratulations. G Air is one of the best formats you've ever made. Why is it loved? Because everybody gets to be their individual self. Premium exists still because people loved G. V had to go because they need to give G more time. Give G its respected time. Not having people share and switch their chance days of what they wanted to do because one of the events took over. G is just the era that everybody is, the golden era of Vanguard. Z, Divine, and Overdress, you guys, those eras are compared to G. If there was an era we wish could come back and get either rebooted or buffed to continue, it would be the G era, which is why Premium is so hard, so strong, and why people play it, because we get our taste of G era back, and people will continue playing it because G is so loved. And I will continue playing Gear Chronicle until I no longer play the game, and if I stop playing the game, you guys will be the first to know. But that's it for me. That's why I love Gears. That's what my feelings were about 10 years of G era. Greatest time for me. One of the greatest nations, the greatest clan I've ever played. If you are a Gear Chronicle main, we are Gear Chronicle. But there's nothing really more I can say. Honestly, guys, this video is from the heart more than it's some planned script or me trying to figure out anything, trying to set my minds on what I want to say. It's just how it is with me and Gears. It's my clan. I play it regularly. I love playing it, right? I love playing the deck. I love playing with ChronoJet. I love hanging out with my friends and enjoying my time, rocking control of space and time. going back and forth to attack you, to just attack, using next stage and grabbing hold of a new future proper possibility. And I'm doing that in my real life. I'm doing what I can. Part of that includes me doing better with you guys here to grab a future I want, where I can play Vanguard all day, video games all day, record for you guys, and that's my job. And that's what I want to. That's what I want to do. And I know to do that, I need to grab hold and work harder on it. So this has been Royal Mech. I do hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, amazing rest of your year. Guys, put in the comments down below your favorite moment about G era. Put your favorite clan and why. I would love to talk to you guys about. I would like to talk to you guys in the comments about that. It would be amazing. So just remember, guys, like, comment down below, and subscribe. Thank you again, guys, for all the support. For those who watch me regularly, you guys are amazing. Have a great day. And for those of you who've been following me for a long time, right? Back last year when I was more steadily streaming, I do have a phrase I like to share with everybody. It's something actually my father tells me more on a regular basis. And in a world where especially people don't feel heard or they don't feel they cared about, everybody deserves to be cared. Everybody should have love. Everybody should have someone they care about. And that phrasing that I love hearing from my dad, that I share with you guys where I can. I need to probably remember to do that more often as part of our closing. But once again, like, comment, subscribe, and in closing, here's my catchphrase that I will from now on always share with you guys when we have a face-to-face or a deck list. You guys are too important to the world. You are important to me. You are important to somebody. So, guys, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.